Welcome back to We Watch the Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay.
Yeah.
And we're reviewing The Monster Squad.
Rock until you drop. Monster Squad, Squad of Monsters, the fucking movie that says, hey, you know what, we can take Goonies and horror and mix it up and have a great time doing it.
It's forgotten, really. I mean,
I know, it's so weird.
Goonies and shit, but like Monster Squad's up there.
I love the Monster Squad. And I want to say one thing about the Monster Squad before we begin about it. The guy that played Dracula, even though he was kind of corny in his own way, he was fucking awesome. Because he played that corny role that, like, you have to be the quintessential Dracula that everybody thinks of when they think of Dracula, you know, with the cowl and the cape. He played it so cool and, like, not edgy, but just, like, straight up. And it made it perfect. I wanted to carry his cape. Oh, my God, I wish I could talk like you every day. Like, when he's, like, he takes the dynamite and he throws it in their clubhouse, and he's like, meeting adjourned. Like, I was like, you have the voice of an angel, sir. And you can be that guy that would be a CEO of a company in New York, and at the very end you stand up, you're like, meeting adjourned. And then he was like, I will have this deal. So anyway, so Monster Squad basically is a bunch of these kids, middle school kids that are in love with classic movie monsters and in love with all that stuff. They have a clubhouse called Monster Squad. They renamed that later. Eventually what happens is they actually have to go against real life classic horror movie monsters from the 40s and 30s. The Mummy, Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. That in itself is fucking awesome. And even Dracula's Brides. This movie has got a twist of not so much horror, it's got action, adventure, big time, and comedy all out the wazoo. And I think that this movie is, you're right, it is a forgotten classic piece of cinema history because it's like, what would happen if the Goonies had to go up against them like this?
Yeah, I know. I love that about it. And I love that. And I actually forgot this movie myself. I forgot it. I didn't know. Someone mentioned Monster Squad. I'd be like, I know that, but I don't know it. I don't remember it very much. And I watched it again, and I was like, oh my God. I totally forgot about this movie. I watched this over and over again as a kid. You've got these little kids that like loved horror and loved these movies before it was cool to. I mean, not that it's cool to, but now at least you've got like some traction for it. But
it's not like over-the-top violent. It's not over-the-top like sexual or anything like that. They're not trying to be like edgy, and Justin Bieber's not going to come up and like, touch my dick. It's nothing like that. It's just, it's cute. It's pure cool fun as a kid. These kids are great actors to me. I mean, the way that they shot them and their interaction, their chemistry together, that's like what we would be like at the same age.
Just like we were like kids.
And when I saw their clubhouse, like, I want to join it now.
Yeah, you got all the elements. You got the clubhouse, you've got the kids that are friends, some of them are losers, you got the cool kid, or not the cool kid or whatever, but he's Rudy. The one that he makes him eat the Snickers bar and shit. Like,
I love fucking
awesome.
Rudy. Rudy is so corny though, because Rudy is like the Fonzie.
Yeah.
And he's like, EJ, dropped your candy bar. It's not mine. He goes, it's yours now. He's like, eat up, and we'll call it a day. That's like, Rudy, he's like, eat it.
Who's that little bully kid, dude?
That's fucking the Wonder Years. That's who
that is. Okay.
Yeah, the older
he looks
brother.
like Eli Manning.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm gonna win a Super Bowl accident.
I don't know.
Sean is great. The main leader of the group.
I love that kid. That's the one I always identified with most. And my favorite character maybe in the entire movie is the dad. The dad is so cool. Like, we were just talking about this outside. The coolest scene to me in that whole movie, of all the cool shit that happens into it, is you've got this dad who's not like a perfect dad or anything by any means, but he's a cop. He fights with his mom. It's got so many things about like your childhood in it. Like when you're upstairs listening to your parents fight, you know, and he comes downstairs. And he asks his dad for money to go see the new monster movie or whatever. That whole interaction there was cool.
Day 7.
Yeah,
and 9.
Yeah, and he's like, "Why do you need to see this movie?" And all that whole thing was so cool. And then like when he's sitting on the roof watching the movie with his binoculars, and his dad shows up with like the Burger King or whatever, and he's like, "Did I miss anything?" It's like that's fucking awesome. That is parenthood.
Yeah, and
he
brings him Burger King, gives him a burger, eats some fries. It's like, what did I miss? Yeah. And then there was no conversation. It was just let the scene be the scene, and just a father and son interacting. I was like, my fucking childhood sucked. That's what I was saying. I was like, I want a roof, and my daddy to come up with binoculars and give me Burger King.
But you're also like, that's the kind of dad I'm gonna be.
I know,
that's
and
awesome.
then you never do it because you don't have a roof that you can go out on. And you're not across.
It doesn't have to be exact.
I know, but you're not across the street from a fucking drive-in. I also like Eugene, the little kid, the youngest kid of the Monster Squad. I just love these little sayings because he's like, "Mummy was in my room," like, and then my favorite scene of that, it's not in the whole movie, but one of my favorite scenes of this movie is when he's eating this Twinkie and it got knocked in the pond. He's like, "Thanks a lot, Pete," and he's talking about his dog, and then the creature like he's like, it pops up and he's like, "Sean," he's like, "What, Eugene?" He's like, "Creature stole my Twinkie." And I always thought it was weird though. The creature from Black Lagoon didn't do anything. He was like, "Ah!" And then
but it looked good though.
It was awesome. The Creature from Black Lagoon was like one of the best like monster effects I saw in it.
Yeah.
Frankenstein was good too. And
I liked Dracula's Brides when he has to shoot steak him and stuff. That was a really cool scene.
But yeah, as far as Frankenstein himself, that's Tom Noonan, which I don't know if people know about. I'm sure you guys do. You got to informed. he was Kane in RoboCop 2. And the thing about him is, you're right, he's got the innocence about him, and he's not stupid, he's learning as he's going. And Phoebe, which is Sean's little sister, is teaching him how to say things, and it's just funny when he's in the clubhouse, he's like, you know, he's like, ups, and he's like, and he's taking pictures like, bogus, bogus.
I love that when he turned around and he's like, bogus.
But I always got sad, dude, and I was watching with my girlfriend, and she got sad too. It was like one of those things you can't. It's universal. I think you'll get sad no matter what. It was like, hey, dudes, check it out. When Rudy like hands him the mask of Frankenstein, he's like, scary. Scary. I was thinking about when we were kids. We didn't do that. Unfortunately, we didn't live in a fucking perfect, picturesque neighborhood to walk back from school together to our nice home in the suburbs. Like, I'll see you at school tomorrow. It didn't work like that, but when Sean and his friend are walking back and he was there having an argument about Wolfman, he's like, you know, Wolfman's not a regular guy. He doesn't go to work. He doesn't have a job. He's like, he wears a freaking pants. And he's like, he had to wear pants. Those movies were in the 40s. If he didn't wear pants, you'd see his wolf dork. And he was like, wolf dork.
And the kid had the shirt that said Stephen King rules.
I fucking love it.
One of my favorite scenes, too, is when they're talking to the principal.
I love that scene, yes. And he was like, spider with human head. He goes, I'm sorry, spider?
He's like, I might be crazy, but you know what I think? Science is cool. Because science is real.
And he was like, I dig it, man!
Wolfman's got nards. I mean, everybody loves that. There's somebody on my Facebook, and that's their actual name, is that Wolfman's got nards.
I like and then the transition to when they're gearing up to really take on the monsters. When Dracula is like going across the wall, and he's like, where is it? And he's like, he's on ecstasy. He's like, it feels so good. And he's touching the concrete, and Frankenstein's or the Wolfman's falling with the candle, and he's like, and he, you know, he breaks in through the door, and he sees the enemy. He's like, oh yes. After all this time, and he's like, and there is no one that will stop us. And you see the little spittle, and it's like, back until you drop. And they're like they're making like steaks. They're making silver bullets.
It's a whole classic '80s
yes,
scene right
I
there.
fucking love that
It's
scene.
fantastic.
I mean, we all talk about movies that we don't want to see remade. I don't want to see this movie touched. I really, really don't. He's like, let's just do it outside the church, like the ritual. And he's like, that's great, Sean. Why don't we just go and have it in Burger King?
The Burger King just across the street.
I know. And then they were getting the guy's sister to do it, and then she was like, she read the whole Van Helsing passage. And he was like, you're not a virgin, are you? And she's like, he's like, what do you mean no? He's like, well, Steve, but that doesn't count. And then they get Phoebe, and that was a badass scene, dude. When Phoebe's reading it, and the scary German dude is reading with her, and then Dracula's like all fucking electrified. Yes, and he walks to her and he like picks her up by the chin. He's like, give me the amulet, you bitch. Frankie's like grabs her by the fucking neck, turns around, he's like, bogus. And I'm like, holy shit.
That old German guy,
real.
That old German guy was perfect too, by the way, because you throw in some Sandlot in there too, like the creepy guy in the house that you don't know about. It's got so many elements.
Dude, and there was even a scene of kind of like sadness because he's like, you sure know a lot about monsters, mister. And he's like, in a way that I do. And you see the fucking...
Like, what kind of movie would you see that was a kid's movie that would throw in some deep shit like that?
The Holocaust, I was like, I'm going to go think about this and smoke a pipe.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. They don't do shit like that nowadays. Everybody's afraid to.
How'd that stupid dog get up here anyway?
Did you think about Back to the Future when you were watching that?
Yeah, I did.
Where they're out in the street and
Hills Alley.
on?
Where's Biff on his fucking gravity fucking skateboard?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I did. Here's a cool scene. I do like Rudy when he's like, where you going? He's like, I'm in the goddamn club, all right? And he takes his steak out. I'm like, yes!
That's badass.
You will always be the club. You're president now.
It's perfectly corny and badass mixed together.
I love
that
it.
kid was like Corey Feldman, but like, you know, without the baggage.
But when Eugene, and you know, I mentioned Eugene before. I like Eugene a lot. It's funny because when you look at Eugene's room when he was talking to his dad, he's like, damn, son, look at all these monsters. Like, mommy's in my closet. You know, his dad does the whole dad typical thing. Because my dad would be like, go to fucking bed, son. Eugene's like, I like when he was writing the note after that music kicks on, rocking till you drop or whatever, and he's writing the note, he's like, come quick, and it's spelled like Q-U-I-C-K, and it's like, army guys. That's the note that George Bush probably sent to the Iraq. How any kid at that age, when shit wasn't so crazy as it is now, before text messages, before Facebook, how they would react dealing with these classic movie monsters. And there we go. That's the end of the movie. That, I think, in of itself, gives this movie, for me, a fucking 10. Solid fucking 10.
I don't blame you at all. I give it a 9.
I cried when I was a kid. I did. When Frankenstein goes in the tunnel.
I hate it, dude. I hate it. I love Frankenstein so much. And he's like, ooh.
He was
like, why does he have to go back too?
I know. I started tearing up even when I watched it recently. I was like, no.
Do the Shaun of the Dead thing. Lock him up in the garage. You know, just come out.
Well, I think the world wouldn't stop until all the monsters were done.
Sucked.
But he was like, bye, Phoebe.
I hate it, dude.
And then she was like, here. He's like, if you could say one thing about Monster Squad, it's got heart. It's got the right tuggings of your heartstrings to make you feel nostalgic about childhood and to make you feel in love with the characters and actually know and want to know what's going on with the plot. That's the best thing about this movie.
I agree. Couldn't have said it better. And question of the day is, what is the one movie, your one movie that really reminds you of childhood more than anything?
It's got to be
for you.
Either this one or Goonies.
Buttercream Gang.
It sounds like you're in a prison gang.
The Buttercream Gang.
I know what you're saying, but the Buttercream Gang.
I love the Buttercream Gang.
I know, but if you take the Buttercream Gang and put it in the Shawshank Redemption, it's like Andy was always fucking confronted by the Buttercream Gang.
Follow us at We Watched a Movie. Don't forget to share one of these videos. We're giving away the shirt next week. If you just share one of these videos on any of your social platforms, let us know that you did. You'll be entered in the drawing to win the first ever and only white version of the WWAM t-shirt. Until next time, click that subscribe button and get some wham in you.
Rock until you drop and get that wham.
Wolfman's got nards.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie.